Welcome, my friends, to the world of HeroQuest, a place unlike any other. And today, I'm going to talk about some of my favorite ways to spice up an adventure while delving deep into the dungeons of Advanced HeroQuest, a pastime that will transport you to the grim and perilous old world. Prepare to confront the insidious Skaven, those mutant vermin of the deep, in a manner that shall truly test your mettle. I'll unveil my favorite adaptations to the traditional rules, reveal how to add additional heroes of valor, and impart the wisdom of crafting a simple dungeon feature that will immerse you in the very heart of the adventure. This is the Fair Weatherman. Step into the shadows, weary travelers, and leave the mundane world behind. Within these hallowed walls, you'll find treasures forged in the fires of antiquity. Level up your fandom with official channel merch, from comfy tees that show your goblin pride to mugs that keep your coffee warm during epic battles. There's even something for your little heroes. Every purchase directly supports the channel and helps me bring you even more awesome content. Check it out today. It'll mean the old world to me. Use code GOBLINMODE at checkout for 10% off your first order. Link in the description below. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Once again, I would like to thank all of my subscribers for joining me on the quest to explore the realms of the old world. I offer my deepest gratitude to this glorious fellowship for your unwavering support as we dive into HeroQuest and Advanced HeroQuest game systems and the magic of role-playing tabletop games. If you haven't had a chance to push the orange button yet, I hope I can earn your subscription today. As I mentioned in my unboxing video, I'm on a mission to revive the magic of Advanced HeroQuest. Given the triumphant return of HeroQuest thanks to Avalon Hill, I'm hopeful that other classic RPGs from that era will soon follow suit. The 90s were a golden age for young wargamers. I was blessed to grow up in a home with a PC Junior, playing games on floppy disk like Xyle, where you would type in and tell the computer when you wanted to search, pick up items, use items, or move around the room, attacking monsters. These games transported us to realms of magic and wonder. Looking back, their nostalgic appeal is undeniable, fueling the fire for my love of tabletop board games like HeroQuest and Battle Masters, along with some games I missed out on, like Space Crusade and the mighty Warhammer Quest, all yearning for a resurgence. With that in mind, I've decided to chronicle my journey of rediscovering Advanced HeroQuest and sharing its enduring appeal with fellow fans of the wargaming genre. Perhaps this will inspire you to delve into this classic game, or more importantly, encourage Games Workshop to finally re-release this hidden gem. The following are some minor modifications I've implemented to enhance my enjoyment of Advanced HeroQuest, and I hope they'll enrich your experience as well. So let's get into this. Led under the artistic direction of John Blanche, the original Advanced HeroQuest Rulebook is a visual feast, featuring contributions from many talented artists. Its 64 pages are brimming with classic hand-drawn art. This rulebook provides comprehensive rules for exploration, combat, magic, monsters, and includes extensive dice tables. Despite countless rereadings, I frequently refer to it while playing the game. While readily available online, the original Advanced HeroQuest Rulebook has spawned numerous modernized versions. While I prefer to adhere to Jervis Johnson's original version, I found myself drawn to the Enhanced Advanced HeroQuest Rulebook. This unofficial version incorporates expansion rules and monsters previously featured in the 90s White Dwarf Magazine, adding depth to the game. I particularly appreciate the expanded treasure and monster tables. The Enhanced Rulebook largely preserves the core mechanics of the original game. Game master mechanics, character creation, actions, death zone rules, and dungeon mechanics remain largely unchanged. Subtle adjustments include equipment and treasure updates, the inclusion of completed spellbooks, and the allowance of diagonal movement without extra cost, while disallowing movement through friendly models. Diagonal attacks are restricted to long melee weapons, as in the original game, with the addition of black powder weapons. I'm currently in the process of trying to track down some 3D printed Skaven riflemen to add to my dungeon. The Enhanced Rulebook also provides an improved version of the Shattered Omelette quest while retaining the original solo play mechanics with minor modifications. Things like spellcasting and hero skill cards have been added that aren't in the traditional rulebook. I've added a link to both of the original and the Enhanced Rulebooks in the description below, so be sure to check it out and decide for yourself which rulebook you like to play with. In Advanced HeroQuest, your heroes are a fixed roster. Warrior Heinrich Lowen, Dwarf Sven Hammerhelm, Elf Terrellion Leafstar, and Wizard Magnus the Bright. You develop these heroes over multiple games, enhancing their skills and expanding their party of henchmen. A hero is only replaced upon death. At the game's outset, players roll dice, with the highest roll choosing their hero first. While each hero possesses unique strengths, character selection is ultimately less critical. Utilize the pre-generated character sheet for your chosen hero, and you're ready to embark on your Skaven slaying adventure. However, if you desire to create a new hero, the rulebook provides guidelines. You can select a class and roll on various tables to generate their statistics. Alternatively, you can incorporate the classic HeroQuest miniatures, Rogar the Barbarian, Durgan the Dwarven Warrior, Ladril the Elven Fighter, and Teller the Wizard into your Advanced HeroQuest game. These HeroQuest miniatures adhere to the standard Advanced HeroQuest rules, with Ladril modified as a high elf with a slightly weaker spellbook than the wizard. To enhance their presence, I acquired a set of 3D printed miniatures from Mountain View 3D and painted their bases to match the Advanced HeroQuest aesthetic. These meticulously sculpted miniatures perfectly resemble their iconic box art counterparts, finally allowing gameplay as advertised. Now I reached out to Wes, and he's perfected adding bases to these heroes, so they'll be tabletop ready when you pull them out of the box. Of course, you can seamlessly integrate the classic figures from the 1989 HeroQuest release as well. Each hero comes equipped with a predetermined character card located at the back of the rulebook. Simply drop them in the dungeon and start exploring. Speaking of HeroQuest miniatures, the questbook clearly incorporates sculpts from the original game. Every creature depicted on the box art, and then some. Goblins, orcs, Vamirs, skeletons, zombies, mummies, chaos lords, warriors, sorcerers, bloodthirsters, and even trolls, minotaurs, beastmen, vampires, and ogres can be encountered within the depths of the dungeon. While you'll need to find suitable proxies for the latter, I'll be showcasing my miniature collection in an upcoming monster proxy video, so stay tuned. Not only do monsters draw from HeroQuest, but so do the dungeon furniture. No more relying on the measly 6 doors included in the Advanced HeroQuest box, many of which are likely broken by now. Fear not, your classic HeroQuest game will provide an ample supply of doors to furnish your dungeon without the need for constant recycling. Thanks to the inclusion of several crossover HeroQuest rules, you'll find tables for populating your rooms to your heart's content. As I mentioned earlier, Games Workshop created a true expansion for Milton Bradley's HeroQuest in the form of Advanced HeroQuest. These two fantasy systems were truly meant to be together. In my last video I mentioned I was short one of my henchmen, and since then I have found a replica to replace the one I had missing. It also came with a different shield, which I have equipped him with. Pretty cool to have all of the sculpts now, completing all the figures in my game system. I am waiting on a couple elven shields to equip some of the other henchmen with, so my elf can roll with a party of bodyguards. Now, one of my favorite additions to Advanced HeroQuest is the purchase of these magnetic walls. I originally picked these up for the HeroQuest re-release, and I struggled to find a color scheme that was appropriate to fit with all the colors on the HeroQuest board. This was a bit of a challenge when I sat down to paint them, but after some experimentation, I settled on a color scheme that I think complemented the Advanced HeroQuest game tiles beautifully. Of course, they'll still look great with your HeroQuest game system as well. This approach effectively delineates the dungeon layout while maintaining a visually appealing and functional playing surface. I like how you can identify where the room starts, along with the wonderful colors that the Advanced HeroQuest game system has. I feel like these really do emphasize and just add more to the thematic gameplay of your dungeon crawling experience. I'll put the link in the description below of where I picked these up. They do come standard wood color, or you can get them pre-primed. I purchased them the way they were made, hit them with a little bit of spray paint, and sat down and spent a couple hours painting them up. I love the end result, and I do think that if you're someone like me who just enjoys the thematic gameplay experience, especially with Advanced HeroQuest, since it was so simplistic out of the box, I really do like expanding upon the furniture and now this dungeon dressing. The results are wonderful. When designing a new quest, utilize the existing monster tables as a foundation for populating your dungeon. Each monster within the rules has an assigned point value, representing its relative strength. For instance, goblins are worth a half point, while skavens are worth 1 point. This allows you to substitute skaven with 2 goblins, or vice versa when creating your own monster encounters. The Advanced HeroQuest Rulebook provides a wealth of monster matrices to guide your creation. To streamline combat encounters, I've created a set of monster cards. This was recommended to me from one of the users on the Advanced HeroQuest Reddit page. I simply made a copy of the monster cards on the back of the book and color-coded them for reference. When facing a specific monster, I simply locate the corresponding card and place it on the table for easy reference during the combat phase, which can become dragged out and rather daunting when you're battling multiple monsters on the board. For added convenience, I've color-coded each card to quickly identify and locate the corresponding miniature within my monster box. And a lot of these monster sculpts that you see here are from the original late 80s, early 90s that are just impossible to find, so you're going to have to utilize proxies if you want to play this game to the fullest. We found some pretty cool trolls online, the warp weavers. A couple of these are like next to impossible to find. Maybe some of y'all out there in the community will be able to find them and point us to the direction of where to pick them up. The Game Master plays a critical role during gameplay, primarily responsible for constructing the dungeon as the heroes explore. This involves laying out dungeon sections and revealing new passages and rooms based on the results of the dungeon generation tables. Solo play often involves extensive dice rolling. To streamline this process, I adopted a technique suggested by Timely Elephant in our Advanced HeroQuest Reddit page, where he suggested utilizing a set of colored dice. I purchased this set of 24 multicolored D12s consisting of 6 different colors as a minor investment to significantly speed up dungeon creation. Here's how I implemented this system into my solo exploration turns. The rooms and passages of the dungeon come to life as the heroes explore. You should only place new dungeon sections during an exploration phase if a hero is standing at a junction that leads to a new passage, a hero is opening a door that has not been opened before. The first roll you're going to do is to determine if it's a passage or a room. Passages are even numbers and odds are rooms. Because it's a room, the second roll will utilize 1 white, 1 blue, 1 orange, a yellow, a green, and a purple. The white will determine the room type, the blue, how many doors are in the room, orange, if there's a hazard. So if you had rolled a hazard room on your white dice, that'll show you the hazard that it will be. The yellow, I've included the HeroQuest furniture roll. A green, HeroQuest monsters from the Wandering Monsters table. And a purple for the quest matrix, depending on the quest that you have rolled upon or the one that you're playing, that will determine the monsters that you'll encounter. In this case, we have an 8, which is a layer, a 1, which is no doors. And since we rolled a layer, we can get rid of the orange dice, which would have been a hazard. We'd then look at the yellow, which is a 12. And we'd be putting a rack down in our room. A 4 green, which determines the HeroQuest monster we're going to encounter. So I'd look at my Maze Wandering Monster Matrix from the edition of the HeroQuest rules. The 5 will determine the monsters we add to our layer from the quest matrix. Remember, at the start of every solo play, you roll on a set of tables to determine the type of quest you're going to go on. But more on that in a minute. Now if we would have rolled a passage or an even number on that first roll, we would then roll 1 white for passage length, 2 blue for passage feature, and 2 orange for the passage end. To streamline the dungeon creation, I printed a copy of the GM reference sheet and color-coded each table to match the corresponding color dice. This allows for rapid dungeon population while still embracing the thrill of random dice rolls, a key element I cherish in classic role-playing games. I happen to really like the traditional dice. I feel it just gives it a really nice feel, especially with all the different colored ones that I picked up. To significantly accelerate dungeon creation, consider utilizing the free Advanced HeroQuest Dungeon Generation app. With a single tap, the app automates the process rolling virtual D12s and consulting the passage and room generation tables within the rulebook. It even handles opening doors and discovering treasure, streamlining gameplay and eliminating the need of numerous manual dice rolls and table lookups at each T-junction. By default, the app incorporates the Terror in the Dark rule, delaying the appearance of quest rooms until at least 3 rooms have been explored. I happen to really like this feature in the Enhanced Rulebook, which utilized all of the additional Terror in the Dark rules. This adds a layer of suspense and challenge to the game. However, if you prefer a different approach, the developer has thoughtfully included an option to disable this feature. I've included a link to download this in the Google Play Store for you to utilize if you so wish to. So one thing I'm interested to learn from the community is how you guys have adapted utilizing the dungeon counters when playing solo. It's something the traditional rulebook does not incorporate. I will still utilize the treasure tables from the Terror in the Dark expansion when I play solo, but I would like to try to find a way to incorporate these dungeon counters. I think they're awesome. Personally, I think I tried out a few times just randomly drawing them like the rulebook suggests with the traditional game master, and then I would just mentally apply the dungeon counter when I would see fit as if I was playing the GM. I know Daniel from the Dungeon Dive had a different system too, where he'd draw a dungeon counter and a certain number of them would equal something, which I think is a fantastic addition too. I'm just curious to see if anyone has come up with a different system. My latest dungeon crawl sparked an idea. What if I established a quest log? While utilizing the quest generator, a system for creating endless adventures, I found myself struggling to keep track of the intricate details. The plot generator provides a general objective, a rescue mission, retrieval, race against time, exploration, or revenge, while the dungeon monster generator determines the creature types, Skaven, undead, orcs, chaos, beastmen, or a mixed dungeon. But crucial information kept slipping away from me. Who was I rescuing? What was the reward? Which monster table should I use? And what treasure or clues had I discovered along the way? This led me to the concept of a hero's journal. This log will document their journey, not just the victories and defeats, but also their objectives, discoveries, and the evolving narrative of the quest itself. This will enhance the gaming experience by fostering immersion, improving gameplay, and increasing player engagement. It will serve as a chronicle of the character's journey, aiding in character development, world building, and problem solving. Moreover, it encourages creative expression and provides a valuable resource for future adventures. The Bloodthirster, also known as the Gargoyle in HeroQuest, is one of the big bads that you face and encounter in the Advanced HeroQuest and HeroQuest Dungeon. I really like this sculpt. I think this speaks classic HeroQuest that just brings back a lot of nostalgia to me. But one thing that I had found online when scrolling through Etsy, my buddy Wes had newly listed a true bloodthirster. This sculpt is incredible. When I saw it, I had to have it. So I went ahead and purchased one and got it shipped this week and waited to produce this video just so I can have it in it. I do feel like this sculpt really does encompass the true bloodthirster villain that we would see in the Advanced HeroQuest dungeon. The name being a bit too mature to include in the 1989 HeroQuest release, but I really love this sculpt. I love the classic nostalgia that it provides in comparison to the original gargoyle that we received, but it's just massive and bulky and towers over our heroes. Something I feel that the re-release did do a bit better job of, but as you know, the artwork was slightly changed when it moved over to Avalon Hill, and I'm just enthralled with this depiction of a gargoyle. Something that holds true to the roots of the original release. You can go to Etsy and search Mountain View 3D. He has it listed. It's about $17, $18. What I really like about Wes and his sculpts is that he is determined on providing the best quality and the fastest shipment. So his turnaround process for me was like 4 days, and I couldn't be more happier with this purchase. Well, that's all I have for you today. Stay tuned for an upcoming video where I'll explore the monstrous Skaven hordes of the Warhammer world. We'll take a closer look at these cunning and deadly creatures, from the lowly gutter runner to the fearsome clan rat. But that's not all. I'll be showcasing my collection of Skaven proxy miniatures, perfect for bringing these verminous foes and the many creatures you'd also encounter into your Advanced HeroQuest games. This is going to be a truly monstrous encounter, one you won't want to miss. As always, danger, you'll soon discover, lurks in every shadow. Your very survival depends on your ability to work together, for no true hero stands alone. Come, let the quest begin.